All right. So the death of DEI with a question mark. Okay. So this is going to be a fun class. So there's some classes that we do that I really, really, really look forward to it. So, bro, why don't we start with you? Just introduce yourself and.
All right. Hi, my name is Sam. I'm a fourth year studying political science.
Fourth year. And you're Nigerian, right?
Yeah.
Nigerian. Were you born here?
I was born here, yeah.
Okay. And your parents were both.
Yeah, they're both from Nigeria, yeah.
Yeah. All right. Cool. You can just keep the mic on too. Just push it up, yeah.
Hi, I'm Sujana, and I'm a second-year nuclear engineer.
And wait, Sujana, I wrote that. Wait, you're a nuclear engineering, and you're a wrestler.
Well, I mean, I did it in high school.
What's that?
I just added that for fun. I did it in high school.
Oh, you did? You wrestled in high school?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was awful, but.
But you did it.
Yeah.
All right, that's cool. All right, I like that. I mean, it's well-rounded. You pick it back up again, nuclear engineering, wrestling, All right, okay. Hey, what's your ancestry?
I'm Indian.
What's that?
I'm Indian, South
Okay.
Asian, yeah.
All right, okay.
My name is Mitra. I'm a freshman majoring in cybersecurity.
Cybersecurity, uh-huh. And a lot of times I ask for ancestry because you all put it down, and then I just think it's interesting for people to know. That's why I asked that.
My family is from Iran.
From Iran. But you were born in the U.S.? Okay. Do you speak Farsi?
No.
Oh.
I know some words, but no, not
Yeah?
fluently.
Did they? Yeah.
My mom moved here when she was like 4, so she can hear it, but she
Okay.
can't speak it.
Okay, I got you. All right. Have you ever been to Iran?
No, I don't want to go right now.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Hi, my name is Evan Martin. I'm a second-year mechanical engineering student.
Okay. All right. Where are you from, by the way?
York, Pennsylvania,
All
just
right.
south of it.
York. All right. Hey, so go to the. Wait, hang on. Go backwards. When you think that we're going to talk about DE&I, what comes to? Does anything come to mind? Just what comes to mind?
I believe there is something released lately about DEI from Donald Trump.
There's something that's suspect about it.
No, just recently released.
Yeah. Okay. There's a lot of stuff. Trump's been saying a lot about DE&I. Go. How about somebody else? Anything? Sam?
Yeah, I was going to say like the Trump thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you think about DE&I before Donald Trump started
Yeah.
talking about it?
Yeah.
What did you think about it?
It's a good question. Like, what do you mean?
I mean, what kinds of things did you think about when someone said DE&I? Where'd your mind go?
Like, at first, it was more so the Biden administration's 2020, like, policy on DEI. That's where it went to at first.
Uh-huh.
But now it's kind of like the Trump.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And Sujana, how about you? Like, when you think of DE&I, does your mind go anywhere in particular?
I mean, right now I just know that Trump did something with it, but that's pretty much all I know.
Trump did something with it. Trump does something with everything, man. That guy, he's all over the place. He talks about everything, man. He's this, that. That's what makes him actually so fascinating, is just how his mind just spins around to so many things. And Mitra, do you have an answer to that question? Does your mind go anywhere?
Where my mind goes?
Yeah.
I think about probably like my mother, who has always worked in like a male-dominated industry, and how even when I was a kid, she was still telling me about like not being paid as much as someone she was even actually like the boss of.
Oh.
So that's like where my mind goes. It also goes to the fact that, we're from an immigrant background, but yeah, that's where it goes.
So the E part for you, the equity part, comes out. All right. Okay, that's cool. All right. Let's go to let's go to the, so here, so I divide this, all right, so you know. I put, because the four don't really go together. Diversity, there, you kind of have diversity here, and then I include belonging. I didn't put it in red because it's mostly, we talk about DE&I. There's belonging, and then there's another one that people are talking about, which I think is like attachment or something, I don't know. But equity, inclusion, and belonging are kind of here, and then diversity is here. So I just separated them, all right? So for the moment, we're going to just do you have any idea, any of you have any idea what Donald Trump has been talking about? What his?
Hasn't he been talking about getting rid of the DEI?
Uh-huh. Do you have a sense of why?
I've heard like he wanted to like get rid of the pressures, I guess, of employers trying to hire more diverse people, like just for the sake of diversity, rather than like actually looking at their merits. That's how about Evan?
How about you? And by the way, what's your ethnic background? By the way?
My family is Irish.
Irish? All right. How about you? Like, what's Trump? What do you know that what have you heard from Donald Trump and his administration and so on?
Basically what she said, just that he's doing away with it because on the basis that he thinks that it might involve people based on things that aren't merit.
Okay. So it takes us away from merit. It's costly, right? It's unnecessary. It's unfair because it's not based on merit, right? So it's unfair. Anything else? Is that it? It's kind of it? So, but it's a negative, right? So the idea is like, here you got this administration is coming in and saying like, hey, we've been talking in this country about DE&I for decades now. And we're going to come in and just got, you know what, we just got to get rid of this stuff. This is a bunch of nonsense. So we're going to get rid of it. Okay, so what I want to do today is just have a conversation about what these terms are. What do you, by the way, Evan, what do you think I think about DE&I?
I would say that you probably agree with what you've separated diversity and then the E and the I. I would assume you like all of them individually.
What? Yeah. Why? Why do you think? What do you think it is about them that I like? What do you think it is about D, E, I, and B? We'll throw the B in there that I like.
I mean, all of those terms are relatively positive terms by themselves. I mean,
Yeah. Yeah, it's very complicated, actually. I think I'm like everybody else. I'm like all of you, and I'm like all of you. I'm like all of us. We all have mixed feelings about all of this, and I think our conversation today, we're gonna uncover all the very mixed feelings about all of the mixed thoughts, because it's a mixture of stuff that's positive and negative, and good and bad, and troubling, and so on and so forth. Yeah, okay, well, here, let's go to the next slide. All right, so diversity, right? So think about how I'm defining this, right? Look at the definition, right? What is divisive about the way I've defined this? Look at that definition, right? You can't see that far? All right, dude, they're right there, that's all right. What's divisive about that? What's problematic about that? Is there anything problematic about that? Sujana, how about you? Like, we'll go right with you. Like, what, do you see anything problematic about diversity as I just defined it? And by the way, that's a general sociological definition of diversity. This is what we're talking about. This is systems. So, it's not like, I'm not slanting it in some way. This is the most generalized way I could possibly define it. Do you see anything divisive about that or problematic?
I can't find anything, no.
Do you have anything? Mitra, do you have anything?
No.
I mean, let me look at it. It's like, okay, range of people, cultures, nationality. It's generally positive, right? It's like,
I agree with the statement, and I also think that you could even say that they try to avoid criticism by saying generally. positive instead of just saying,
Well, I
like,
wrote
positive.
generally. So we can
Oh,
take generally
then
away.
you, yeah.
Okay, well, why don't we take that away even? That a broad range of people, cultures, and all of that is, yeah, it's positive. A range is positive. It's a good thing. Diversity. It's like, yeah.
Yeah, same thing they said, just in a positive connotation.
Okay, so we're starting out here with something that when you talk about getting rid of D, E, and I, and we're starting with D, right? And we're going to get rid of diversity. Automatically you're going to say like, wait, what? Like, what's the problem with diversity? Right? This is a thought. Like, your thoughts should go. It went there for all of you. It goes there for me. Like, okay, what's the problem with diversity? Well, clearly there is something, right? So I have this question. When is diversity not positive? When's it not positive? And for everybody, think about this. When is diversity not positive? And you think, I'm not trying to trap any of you, right? This is really, you know, the question marks should be going off. No one's ever asked you these questions before. So let your mind go, when is diversity not positive?
I think it becomes like sort of a negative thing when it's like people try to force it.
Oh, man. Yeah, okay, go ahead.
Because, like, yeah, there's, like, a broad range of people, races, cultures, ethnicities. But when people try to force it, especially, like, in the workplaces or something like that, it's, like, you're kind of just using diversity just for the sake of it rather than actually practicing it, I guess.
Okay, so go with forcing it. Say more. Like, give me an example of forcing it. Do you have one? Or does anybody have an example of forcing it? Go ahead.
I mean, like, I don't think we have it anymore, but like the affirmative action was kind of an example, I guess.
Okay, well, but you're studying nuclear engineering.
Yeah.
You're going to go out into the workplace as a woman studying nuclear engineering. Yeah. When you start looking for jobs, what would be forcing diversity in the places where you're going to work?
I mean, like hiring me solely because I'm a woman, I
All
guess.
Right. Well, what do you think about that?
I mean, I would like to be hired just like as a nuclear engineer rather than like seen as like just we're gonna take her because she's a brown woman or yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's not how they do it, but like there's a part that plays in it that like we could hire her and like meet a diversity quota.
Right? Okay, so there's a part that plays in it. Do you know? You have the idea that that's part of it. I mean, you're young, right? So you don't have do you have examples of it, or do you just imagine, okay, that one must play a role somehow?
I mean, I've just heard of it.
Okay.
I'm not sure. Yeah.
Okay, but well, listen, you can assume it is, right? How about it's your mom, right? Who didn't get?
Yeah, I actually kind of disagree with what she just said because I think that if certain DEI initiatives weren't forced, no one would have been proactive enough to get them done. So, like, I mean, my mom, like, she's surrounded by all men at her level.
Okay.
And that's how it's been throughout, like, her whole career.
Uh-huh.
And it's recently gotten better, but I don't necessarily think that's because her company, like, turned a new leaf or, like, you know what I mean? I think that sometimes the, like, initiatives or the fact that you want a certain amount of diversity in your work, like, and the fact that it's forced is helpful.
So, but why does it need to be forced? Like, they gonna find, if there are qualified women are gonna...
Oh, no, I'm not saying that to take, like, that out of consideration, but I think that a lot of, like, I think that if you put a overqualified woman and an underqualified man next to each other, there are certain people who are going to choose the man because he's a man.
And even if they're not doing it consciously,
Yeah.
they might just do it. Or maybe your mom got paid less, not because someone decided, hey, you know what? Like, Sam, man, you and I, we got to figure out what we're going to pay Mitra's mom. We'll just come up, how about we'll just pay her, $90,000 or whatever. Oh, how's that? Is that good? All right. And we don't even think about the fact, whoa, hang on a second. Wait, what are the men get? Wait, that's like 30,000 less than the men at her level. Like, no one's really bringing that to our attention, and we're just these two good old boys making a decision, and maybe then it just happens, and no one thinks about it. And so DE&I comes along, and people start saying, hey, you two Sams, you got to think about that stuff, man. That's not cool. That's not equitable. It's not, et cetera. Right? So maybe stuff like that.
Yeah.
Okay. But at the same time, so hang on. So you're not disagreeing with Sujana. What you're saying is, yeah, but hang on. Here's this other side of it. Like Sujana's saying, like, I don't want to force.
Like, I don't think that qualification shouldn't be taken into consideration at all. Like, if a man is more overqualified than a woman, then there's no reason why you shouldn't hire him and not the woman just because she's a woman.
Uh-huh.
But I think that we've made a lot of headway in the past 60 years when it comes to DEI, and I don't think we would have made that headway if it weren't for the fact that there were a lot of, like, initiatives and, like, encouragement and stuff like that.
Okay, Evan, do you have a thought on that? I'm really digging this conversation. Like, you're airing it out, right? So this is you. Listen, wait, how old are you? 18? You're 18. So listen, if you're watching the stream, she's 18, all right? She's not an expert on DEI qualifications, work study. I could go get a professor who studies this been studying it for 30 years, come in and have the conversation. Mitra's 18, so this is her thought. So you're getting a chance to hear what these 4 college students are thinking about this. Evan, how about you? Like, what do you think about what both of them are saying? Sujana's saying, yeah, well, it becomes a problem. Diversity is not positive when it's forced down our throats. And then Mitra's saying, yeah, but sometimes it's got to be forced down our throats or we don't do anything. Like, people will just keep going on and doing what they do, and if you don't.
I would say that when you do, if you have a situation like she gave, where you have somebody who let's say you have equally qualified people and you have the forcing of the situation, whether it was, under whatever circumstances, I think that there's, unless you're creating positions, usually that means you're displacing people as well. So I think if you're going to be removing somebody from a position in order to replace them with somebody who fits those criteria, then that's probably not a good.
That seems like it would be a little bit problematic, right? Yeah. What if we come along and someone comes along and says, hey, listen, man, as in Mitra's mom's case, listen, you got this company here, you got this industry. Why do you have all these men in these top positions? Like, are there not women out here who are qualified to be in these positions? Like, come on, man. Like, what's going on? Can you guys look at this? Can you take a look at it? Can you have a conversation? Like, can we, that's all. What about that?
Yeah, of course. I think that there's exceptions to every rule. Nothing's really black and white.
Okay. So when is what I just said? What I just said is very reasonable, right? We're going to this company. We're going like, hey, y'all, come on, men. Let's have a come to Jesus conversation right here. And they might say, oh, but we're not really Christians. We'll be like, that's all right. We'll talk to Jesus anyway, right? You know what a come to Jesus conversation is? You got that? All right, man. That means we're going to have a serious conversation right now. We're going to put it all on the table. All right. So let's have a conversation. So that's not a problem. Basically, anybody would agree on that, right? And then you might discover that, hey, you know what? There actually isn't discrimination. There really aren't women who are really applying for the jobs, and there's just not. And your mom would then say, oh, fuck, all right, there we go. So we've had this conversation. We're open about it. It's good. It's all good. Like, yeah, all right, I'll move on with my life. I'll seem that I'm special, and here I am. It's all good. That sounds reasonable. Sam, does that sound reasonable as a man?
I didn't hear what you said.
What's that?
I didn't hear what you said.
No, the idea that we're going to be that you're just going to have a conversation, say in a company like that, where you're going to say, wait, we're going to have this open conversation about why there's so many men, and then we're going to figure out what it is, and we might find out, well, you know, really, there's women really aren't not wanting to be in these positions, and so whatever.
Yeah, I guess, but like coming back to her point, because like I agree with what she said, with the forced, like kind of quote forced DEI, because I look at it kind of like a pendulum, and I think if you look at America like 100 years ago compared to where it is today, there's almost like no diversity, and so I think it went from like an extreme left to maybe to some people an extreme other direction, but for me, I'm like a big fan of the like forced quote unquote DEI, because I think making that progression is like necessary to kind of come back to like a balance in the middle.
Yeah, okay. So the pendulum had to swing all the way here to all this DE&I stuff, so it can then swing back to the middle.
And like balance,
Yeah, okay. So that's where you want the balance.
I mean,
Because what's it mean if we force it way over here in your direction? What does that mean for diversity?
I mean, I think if it's all the way to an extremity, it can be harmful to some people, some parties, I guess.
Well, how would it be harmful to you as a black man? Like you enter into a company that's like 100. It's just like this D&I, man. You get hired, you're a DE&I hire.
Yeah.
And it's clear to everybody that Sam right here, forget about how qualified he is, how smart he is, how handsome he is, whatever the F it is, doesn't really matter. He's a DE&I hire. How is that harmful to you?
I mean, I really have like, because I've gone to, when I was like little, I was like in a Catholic school in Philly, and I was like pretty much the only black kid. And I don't like being the kind of quote unquote token or like the picture, guy that's in every picture. So that's the only way I could look at it, as like where I would be uncomfortable.
What's another way you could look at it? You're a DE&I hire. How is that problematic for you? Regardless of how qualified you are, how is it problematic for you to be a DE&I hire? You got the job. You're in it. You're doing it. But what? But now what? How is that a problem? We're just scoping out how is it a problem? He's a DE&I hire, man.
He could be underqualified.
Dude, no one knows if you're qualified. All we know is that Sam, dude, that Sam guy, like he's, you know, we needed to hire a black dude.
They're hating, bro.
What's that?
I said they're hating.
They're hating on you, but why wouldn't they? Because like, why wouldn't you if you find out like, hey, listen, man, Sam, there's a couple students in class. It turns out that the students in class that got the highest grade in class, just happened to be connected to Sam. They're like his neighbors or whatever. He's like, wait, hang on. How do we know that they didn't get the high grade in class because they're his neighbors? Like, how do we know that this guy, Sam, is qualified just because here he is? Like, I don't know that. I'm always going to look at you with suspicion. You would look at you with suspicion. You're going to look in a mirror, and you're going to be going like, hey, Sam, is this it? Things are going to get tough. And you're going to, does this work? Am I really the best person for that? Fuck. Man. Right? So that's a problem with it. So.
And then I think you also get, if you have some people who are hired purely based on that, then you get people who aren't, and then they're truly qualified people, and they come in and everybody's going to assume that they're whatever.
Yeah, here, the two of you, right? So one of you, these two young women here, one gets hired. We got to hire two women. We don't have to, but we do, and we kind of know we got to get more women in here, right? So we finally do. And one of you is really awesome, but the other one we kind of brought along. Well, and it's cool. We bring you along. You're all right. You're fine. You know what I mean? Like Mitra, you're good. You're good, but you're not like Sujana. And everyone knows, like, yeah, Mitra's pretty cool, but she's not like Sujana. And you like got to live in that at every moment. Like, that's not cool either, right? So the problem with this DE&I stuff is like it works in small doses, but suddenly you got now these big, you got the government or you got all these organizations, you got whatever, coming up with these policies. They're going to demand the actions of large groups of people. And Donald Trump comes along and says, this is like, this is crazy making. This is crazy making. Like, are you going to do that? It's one thing for one company, right? But it's another thing for like whole, like college admissions across the United States. We're going to come up with a policy for college admissions across the United States. Y'all have to admit more Native American students. We don't care how you do that, but we want to see it happen. And you're like, what the hell? What is that? How are we going to do that? You know what I mean? And so this is what Donald Trump is saying. That's like where you lost me right there. I got a problem with this, right? So here's another thing. I want it when you forced it onto you, right, bro? You guys are into diverse. Do you like eating? You like foods?
I like food.
You like food? Yeah, you like food? You like food, bro? All right, dude. G here has a gift for you, man. You're gonna need the chopsticks too, man. Oh, you got it. Listen, this is bondegi. This is a Korean. This is the pupa of silkworms. Okay, so we're gonna let you. Have you ever eaten worms?
No, I've only had like dried out crickets.
Oh, dude. Okay, you get to have worms, right? Now here, you ready? You get to try that. Wait, hang on. Can we get a shot of this?
I don't like food that much. It's okay.
Oh no, dude. No. You like diversity. You have to have this. Diversity. Dude, this is diversity. Like, you got to eat worms. Dude, they're worms. They're good. Here, can you go to the next slide?
Protein.
Can you go? That's what they look like, by the way. So, no, you got like wait, this class is the class. This Angelo's gonna have it. No, this class is about diversity. Like, you got to have this. Are you down? Dude, are you down for it? You gonna have some? Wait, we got it. You gonna have some?
I just ate.
Oh, I just ate. Oh, here it is. So you ready? Sujana, you wanna have some?
I'm good.
Oh,
No.
I'll say it. All right.
Anyone of y'all?
So here's the thing. You ready?
Let me show them.
This is one thing is dude. First off, it's good, right?
It's like a bean.
Dude, in Nigeria, they do all sorts of stuff. Look, here's the thing. It's just food. People eat it all over Korea, right? This is, it's tasty. It's good. It's tasty, right? It's a little bit crunchy.
No,
It's not tasty?
no.
All right, well, it grows on you. If you eat the whole can, it'll grow on you, okay? Listen, so here's the thing. The whole country eats them. They've been eating them for centuries, right? This is a delicacy, okay? You can't reject Korea. It's a whole culture. You can't reject that. You're into diversity. You gotta like put yourself up. You have to like this. Like, this is part of it. You have to like it. How can you not like it? Like, this is a problem. What kind of person are you that you don't like it? So this is the problem with diversity. Like, I'm shoving it down your throat, and you're saying like, nah, no thanks, I'm good. And I'm jamming it down your throat. And so why should you have to have this, right? So this is it. It could be anything. It could be, and not just this, but anything at all, right? Okay? Here's the next question. Gee, you love this, don't you, man? All right. So is this not the same thing of diversity at multiple levels, right? It's another thing. Okay, you ready? Let's go back to women in the workforce. Evan, it's another thing if we have an organization or a company and it's all men working there, and we just decide. Wait, can you go back to the last slide? All right, G. Dude, I opened a can of worms. Yeah, exactly. All right, bro. G. You can have some after class. It's another thing. Irvin, did you have any?
No, I did not. And I
you believe in diversity. Yeah, Cora might want some. All right, here's the thing. But it's another thing when Sam and Evan and I are part of making decisions for our organization or our company, and we've decided, hey, you know what? We just don't want to work with women, or people who are disabled, or people, any number of things. Yeah, we're just not really into that. But that's a whole different matter. This is food. This is bandegi. You don't even want that. So what about other times when, like, you don't want it, but someone's going to come along and say, wait, you don't have really the right to do that. But what about all the other times when you're just like, I don't want to travel. I don't want to learn another language. I don't really want to interact with people who are not from my culture. I don't really want to watch foreign movies. I don't want to read subtitles. I'm not really into that. And I don't really want to hang around with poor people. It's like, so what's the problem? There's not a problem. Is there a problem with that?
Well, no, that's definitely very pretentious. But if there's people like that who believe that, I mean, certainly you don't want to hang out with them anyway if you're of the group that they're against.
Yeah, but maybe they're just like, I'm not comfortable around poor people. You know what I mean? I just really would rather not. I'm not that comfortable. I'm like, it reminds me of my childhood, or I don't know. I just like, I don't want to hang out. I don't want to travel. I don't have a passport. I never want to leave my hometown. What's wrong? Is there a problem with that? I want to stay in York, PA my whole life. I never want to leave.
It sounds boring, but I mean, I don't think there's a problem with that if that's what somebody wants.
Yeah, exactly. So there's a broad range of people. It's generally seen as positive, but it's not always positive. It's like if you don't want it, you don't want it. It's not a problem. It's only positive. It's only negative when it really negatively impacts other people. And then that's a problem. And then people come along and they try to create these large programs to address a problem that sometimes is an interpersonal problem. And now we got to figure this out. So Trump's way is, what we're going to do is we're going to get rid of all of it. And I'm like, okay, well, that's one way to do that. But you understand, when you get rid of all of it, now you're also getting rid of some things that maybe a lot of people would really be concerned about. So, for example, every woman in this classroom, you're only here because people pushed Penn State back in the day to admit women. If the men had had their way, year after year after year after year, you wouldn't be in any of these seats. And not only that, but you wouldn't be wearing pants. Both of you and every woman in this room would be wearing a skirt or a dress, because that was mandatory dress back in the day. But, women came along and they finally say, hey, we're not doing that. So, you know what I mean? So at some point in time, things change. So it's a balance here. But it is problematic when people force it down your throat, like worms. All right, you ready? Let's do this, man. Let's go to the next slide. Okay. So some people receive resources and opportunities based on specific needs or circumstances. Do you have an example of that? Anybody? Can you give me an example? What's this?
Being disabled?
Yeah, so what do you give me an example of that?
If you have non-functioning legs and you were stuck to a wheelchair.
Yep. So the question is, okay, where do you get the wheelchair? You pay for it.
Mm-hmm.
But what if you can't afford it?
Then it's paid for by the government.
Paid for by the government. Do you have a problem with that? No. Why do you not have a problem with that? Like, that's a lot of money. You know what, those electric wheelchairs they can cost up to like 10 grand. So we're all paying for that. So why do you not have a problem with that?
Because that's something that person needs in order to have as close to a...
People need a lot of things, man. There are people in this class who have their parents give them the credit card They never see the bill. Who gets a credit card from your parents? You never see the bill. You don't ever even have any idea how much you spend every month. You just spend it, and that's it. You get that. You have that, right? Who has that? Irvin. You have that? So you got it. Okay, so she just spends it. Who doesn't have? How many of you who's working 3 jobs just to survive? Dude, he's working 3 jobs. You 2 jobs? Could you loan him your credit card once in a while? You could use it, right? Bro, once in a while. So he needs money. Why not help that dude out? Why the disabled person?
One of them is a basic human right, and the other one, I mean, I can't guess what he's going to spend the credit card money on.
What if the person who's disabled was drunk driving and speeding when 1,000 people told him to stop doing that, and they got in a car accident and they broke their spine, they broke their back, and now there they are in a wheelchair. And now you come along after thousands of people told that person stop doing that, and not only that, but they seriously injured other people in the process. But that doesn't matter. They're disabled. We're going to buy them a wheelchair. How about that? Go ahead.
I don't have anything to say.
You don't have.
Well, I wasn't exact. Can
What
you
do
repeat it?
Yeah, with the idea, the person in the wheelchair, it's their fault they're in a wheelchair.
Right.
So, are you cool with buying a wheelchair for him, $10,000? Because he's saying, like, dude, the person needs a wheelchair, man. Like, what are you going to crawl? They're going to come to Penn State, they're going to crawl into class. They're going to crawl across campus. They're going to crawl into class. They're going to crawl down the stairs, and we're going to lift themselves up into the seat right here in the front because the government, because we won't buy them a damn wheelchair.
Well, I agree with what he was saying, that like that's the idea of equity as well, as you're evening the playing field. Like you think of like with golf, how there's handicaps because you can't play a pro golfer without maybe getting some sort of handicap that's like what.
Yeah, but what if the equity is it's your own fault? You're in a wheelchair. Like, when do you draw the line to say, the equity is a cool thing, but why that?
Well, okay, this is going to be controversial, but it's also sometimes like, it's like it could be someone's fault that they're poor if they poorly invested, but they still deserve food stamps.
Dude, it might be this dude's fault that he has to work 2 jobs. You might have spent.
Are you playing with stocks?
Dude, he might be gambling his money away on the bills, bro. He's gambling it on the bills. Like, oh damn, man. Yeah, bad idea. Or the Jets, even worse, right? And so like whatever. That's why he needs it. But you see the problem here. Equity sounds good when it's a wheelchair, or it's like, we have disabled students who, in communities all across the country, and we have special busing services to get disabled students where they need to go. That costs a lot of money. But we do that because they're disabled. And somehow that just feels like, okay, we should do that. That feels okay. So equity isn't necessarily a problem. But what about Sam here? He comes from a poor family, let's say. You're Nigerian, so you don't come. Dude, Nigerians, man. Nigerians are like, 2/3 of adult Nigerians have college degrees. So don't 2 out of 3 chances you meet a Nigerian. Don't be, assume they're rich. Assume they're college grads. Anyway, so let's say that we come up with a program for Nigerians, immigrants, right? Yeah, immigrants, because we have this idea that immigrants are poor. But a lot of immigrants aren't poor. A lot of Nigerian immigrants aren't poor. A lot of Indian immigrants aren't poor. Persians immigrants aren't poor, right? So like, wait, what's that about? So the problem is, we when we get these systems in place for equity, we want to try to balance it out so everybody gets a fair shake. You see this? But like, when is it fair and when is it not fair? So you would say, okay, so now as a black man, what about that? What's unfair for you about being black? That we should have some kind of program at Penn State to give you some kind of little special boost somehow as a black guy.
You're just talking about equity, right?
Yeah, equity.
I mean, for me, like, equity is just, like you said, giving people what they need in
Okay.
terms to have, like, equal chance at life. I feel.
Oh, but we don't have time to figure out what you need.
Okay.
And we don't have time to figure out what all the other black people in class need. Okay. Okay, we don't know. Well, let me line up all the black people in here. So we're going to come up. By the way, dude, this is why you signed up for Social 19, right?
Don't do it,
To
don't
have
do it.
this conversation with a black guy, right? Okay, so listen, Sam, you and I, we're going to go around. We're going to pick all the black people up in here. We're going to grab them. We're going to line them up in the front.
Yep.
Okay, from the poorest
Oh my God,
to the
bro.
wealthiest. First off, how many poor black people you think there are in here?
None.
There
yeah.
aren't very many.
Nah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There aren't very. First off, there used to be. Poor, rich in spirit, my friend. All right. That guy's the richest person in the class in spirit, which you'll find out
Yeah,
in a
facts.
little. So here's the issue. There used to be, but Penn State's pretty expensive now, so there aren't very many, right? And more likely to be poor. There are more poor white people in here than poor black people, all right? So listen, but we're going to line them all up.
Okay.
Okay? So we're going to line the poorest up down here up to the richest. And the richest black person in here, by the way, is probably pretty damn rich. Might be. Is it you, by the way? All right.
No,
definitely
definitely
not? All right. Okay, so we good? Now, you and I, here, stand up. We're going to do this metaphorically, right? Hang on, I got to.
Is that gum?
Yeah.
Can I have
dude,
one, please?
ah, shit.
I got worm breath.
Hey, could some. I have a cough drop.
I'll take a cough drop.
Does anyone have a piece of gum for him?
You just throw
Oh,
it.
she's
I'll
got a
catch
piece
it.
of gum.
Oh,
She'll
okay.
give it to you.
Appreciate you.
All right, Sam, in the meantime,
Okay,
we're going to walk down this proverbial. Imagine there's a lineup of black people right here.
Okay, bet.
Okay, here we go. We're going to walk down. We're going to decide who's deserving of something. It's the poorest. No, let's go with the richest. The wealthiest down here, the poorest down here, okay?
All right.
Now, okay, so the richest now, these people. So here we go. Now, you're rich. Imagine there are people here.
Okay.
You're rich. No, okay, we're not giving you anything.
Yeah.
No. Okay, no, you're good. You don't deserve anything. No, nothing. I don't care. And then we start getting out down here to the people who are a little less connected.
Yeah.
And now we got a problem because we're like, where do you draw the line here between this person and that person, right? Dude,
Nah.
all right, just imagine two black people here, bro,
All
all
right,
right?
bet,
It's
okay.
not hard for you, right?
Yeah.
We can do it. Where do you draw the line? Like, where do you make it happen?
I
This
mean-
is the problem.
Yeah. Yeah, you're asking me?
Yeah, like, where
Okay.
would you do it? Can you see the complication of that?
A little bit, but I guess if you kind of like say they're, all right, let's say it's kind of crazy. Out of 10, they're like rich to poor, and then 10 being the richest, like 1 being
Yeah.
the poorest.
Yeah.
I feel like if somebody's like 7 out of 10, you would give them 3. Does that make sense? 5 out of 10, you give them 5.
Okay, yeah. You do with something.
Yeah, I try to. You try
But
to-
how do you do that? There's so many people who are in need, and
Yeah.
why would you do it? Why just for black people or brown people? What about all the poor white people? Because DE and
they come up here too.
What's it? But we don't do that really. DE and I is diversity. Here, you can have a
I'll
seat
give
here,
it back.
dude. Let me ask you this: does diversity, equity, and inclusion include white people?
It can
It can. Does it?
sometimes,
When?
and occasions like
Women.
yeah, exactly.
Disabled people who are
Yeah.
disabled. How about able-bodied white men who are not disabled? How
Poverty?
often does it include them?
If they're like impoverished,
What DEI programs really involve class and social class and economic wealth?
it's a good question.
I mean, they should.
Yeah.
They all involve it at some level, but how often? And this is part of the problem. What do you think about that? What do you think about what we're doing right here? What are you thinking? Is your head spinning a little bit?
Yeah.
What are you thinking?
What exactly is the question?
How can you decide? How do we decide? Right? Let's take, you're Indian American. Think about all the Indian Americans here.
That's a lot.
It's a lot. How do you decide which ones have specific needs and which ones don't? Like, imagine how big that is. Millions of people. And then you're going to design programs to like figure out how you're going to help some people and not other people, and like, oh, damn. Can you imagine signing up for you want to be a nuclear engineer?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's an easy job compared to what this would be. You got to sort through all these Indian Americans living in the United States. You got to figure out which ones are worthy of assistance and which ones are not. And that's what DE&I is. This is the problem. When you have these programs for a lot of people, Mitra.
I'm just wondering if it would be better to help no one than rather than help the few people who do need it.
Oh, damn.
If it's so hard to decide.
Oh, damn. Okay, can you go to the next slide? All right, so here's equality. Everyone receives the same resources and opportunities. Doesn't matter. If you're the black guy, black family down here who's really rich, or the black family down there who's really poor, or the Indian family at both ends, or Persian family, or white family, whatever. This guy's from York. There's a lot of poverty around York, right? I mean, really? I mean, it's a tough city. It's a tough city. So you just give everyone the same damn thing. You work it out. Just work it out. What's the problem with that? Or is there a problem with that?
Well, that would be a waste of resources if you're giving food stamps to someone with a $500,000 a year salary.
Or something like that.
Yeah.
You know, back at Penn State, can I tell you a story?
Yes.
Let me tell you when this hit home for me in this class. Probably my second year teaching this class, Social 19. I had a kid in class who was connected to a very, very powerful Penn State alum who, I'm not going to say who it is, but it's this person who was very well known in Penn State history. So he was black. This kid was black, right? And so he's the son of this alum. The son didn't go to college and went out and did his own thing, right? And did quite well. I don't want to say anything about what he did or how he did because people will figure out who I'm talking about. But did quite well for himself, right? But in the end, decided to come back to school. But the father said, hey, I'm not helping you out. Like, you're on your own, man. I told you I would help you out right out of high school, but now you're on your own. You got to make it work. So the kid was like, all right, I got this, man. Really good dude. So he got financial aid. Then the father, it's like, owned a skyscraper. You know, this is serious, right? Didn't own it, but, had an office on the top floor. Had the whole top floor. And the kid got the Penn State the Penn State grant and aid that went to students of color. Didn't go to white students. Wasn't based on class. This is back in the day. We don't have this anymore. But it went to him because he was black. And I'll never forget him saying, like, to me, like, yeah, he was trying to pay for his college, but like, and him saying, yeah, I got this grant, man. Back then it was $3,000. It wasn't a lot. Today maybe it would be like 9,000 or something. I don't know, equivalent to. He's like, yeah, I got this. I'm like, dude, how the fuck? How'd you get that? Like, how are you getting that? He's like, cause yeah, whatever, right? I'm like, okay. He's like, but I'll take it cause I need it, cause I don't have any money, cause my parents cut me off. I'm like, all right, that's cool, but That's a problem. That's what people say. That's why people have a problem with this. Now, in the end, what he did was he helped somebody else out because, that was his thing. So he's like, yeah, well, I'm going to take this, but I'm going to help someone else. So it's all good, right? But this is so if everyone gets the same resources, so here people got resources based on something. And then people would say that's not fair. They're probably, in your community, bro, there's probably a lot of white people in his community who we could never afford to come to Penn State. Could never afford to come to Penn State. And they're white. Now, we don't give scholarships out like that anymore. Everybody thinks we do. Everybody thinks that all the black and brown people in this room, they're all here on scholarships and they get full rides, and that's just that ain't happening, right? So I'm saying that to the cameras. Just know that this has already been really reshaped and reformulated and so on, right? But there are a lot of white people in your community who could never afford to be here. And then how fair is that to them?
Again, not terribly fair.
It doesn't seem fair. Right? What do you think? Is that fair? What if you get a scholarship, because you're sent, because besides the fact that you have a cool name, but kids in his neighborhood don't get that? What do you think about that?
I don't know.
Dude, are you getting a close up on him? Because you can see his brain working.
Yeah.
Here. He's like, man, am I going to speak honestly, or am I going to?
Yeah. I mean,
what would your Nigerian parents say
about what?
About this?
About him or
Yeah, about the fairness of it. Because they're probably all about, man, if you don't earn it, you don't deserve it.
Yeah, they're like that, but both of them, they both struggled a lot when they came to the country at first. So
okay.
I feel like they would definitely, they're pro take all the chances, opportunities you are given.
Okay.
So I'm kind of in the same mindset. It's really unfortunate that there are people like that, but at the same time, there's a lot of systemic reasons why that's the way it is.
Okay, so hold on, you get that? Systemic reasons. So now we can walk into another world. Legacies of inequality, generational inequality. Can one of you say what that is? This generational wealth and inequality. Can one of you say? Do you know what that is? What I'm referring to? Do you have any idea? Historical legacies, generational inequality, all of that. Yeah? Do you have it? Evan, do you got it? Sujana, you got it?
Is it how different races were treated in the past, or?
Yeah. Okay. And what does that mean for the present?
Well, I mean, because of the inequalities that happened in the past, say DEI, in theory, in practice, it works, but if you take it away, and you're we should treat everyone equally, you can't, that's not going to happen because of different races had different circumstances growing up. There's a lot of neighborhoods of colored people that don't have access to education, and then there's some colored neighborhoods that do have access to education, but it's different for everyone, and the past is to blame for that. So that's also why taking away DEI is also not the answer. But also DEI is not the best answer.
Mitra, do you have some?
Yeah, historically there were red areas, marginalized communities, mainly Hispanic and Black people, especially in cities, where banks would not give loans to them.
Yeah. Which meant what?
Which meant they couldn't afford housing.
Okay,
or if
they couldn't afford
they
not
lost
housing,
a lot of money.
to buy a house.
To buy a house, yes.
And that meant what? They couldn't buy a house. Not just couldn't even afford. It was even illegal. They just couldn't. You couldn't get a house.
Yeah.
And that meant what?
It was
Why is a
bad.
house important?
Oh, a house is important because, honestly, without a house, it's hard to find a job.
Okay, it's wealth. You can have
Yeah.
an apartment and get a job, but it's wealth. You're
Yeah.
like building wealth.
Yeah.
Okay? And so when you got the wealth, look, do you know who the poorest ethnic group, ancestry group is in the United States? Do you know? The poorest of all the groups, think about ancestry groups and so on. Do you know, bro?
I would guess American Indians.
Yeah, American
probably.
Indians, by far, right? So, okay, American Indians. So, American Indians were, first off, the longest running, most widespread genocide in human history occurred right here with the Indian peoples, the indigenous peoples of the Americas, okay? So, first off, they're genocide, they're killed. And then what happens is we take the best land and we build reservations, push them into reservations, and one thing after another, okay? They're now the poorest group, ancestry group in the United States by far, okay? So let's say that, let's do this. Why don't you, come, yeah, here, you stand here, okay? Evan, can you come over here, if you could? Yeah, bring the mics. You stand right here. Stand right at the bottom stair. Evan, you come up here. Now, so listen. So you're down here. Imagine this is the ladder of upward mobility, okay? And you're Native American. You're no longer, you're Sujana, but you're from the Chippewa tribe, okay? Got it? So this is the ladder of upward mobility. So you're gonna catch up to him because he's white. Forget about the fact he's just white. So he's of the ancestry group that has more money. There are poor white people, there are rich white people, okay? But we're gonna lump them all together and they're gonna average, and he's just gonna represent white people, and he's here, okay? So Sujana, so you're gonna pull yourself up by your damn bootstraps, and you're gonna work really hard, and you're gonna catch up to him. So go ahead and start walking. Okay, hang on, stop. Wait, so you just see what happened? What happened to him?
He kept moving forward.
He kept moving forward too. He's not gonna stop. He's not gonna stop and wait for you. So it's like, Sujana, you're going to have to work harder, my friend. If you, look, I don't care about the past. I don't care what happened to your people. We can't deal with that. We can't have a DEI program to fix this problem. You're going to have to catch up with him. So, don't expect us to do that. That's on you. So you ready? Do it again. Catch up to him. Wait, hang on. You're not catching up. You got to work harder. You see the problem here? Like up here, people with means, they don't stop. So they don't stop. You're going to have to really work at it. So the problem with not dealing with generational wealth in history means that this gap right here, it's really difficult to change. And the reason Sujana is here and not there is because her people were deliberately forced to be here. So it's genocide and it's discrimination, it's exploitation, it's racism. The most horrific things you can imagine happen right here to her people. And now what we're saying to her is, hey, listen, we're going to get rid of all this DEI stuff, this equity, equality stuff. What do you want, special treatment? You give me special treatment? What is that? You just got to catch up to him, damn it. Make it work. And then that becomes a problem. So how is that for you? Imagine you're Native American. How does that feel?
Not good.
Why?
Well, because I have to work twice as hard.
Yeah, but you don't want to get anything either. You don't want to be given something for free.
Yeah.
So, okay, so now you're stuck. Here, come back down. So what are you going to do? You're stuck. you don't want to get something for free, right, that you don't deserve, because you don't. And you're going to try to do the best you can. That's all you can do. But yet, you're in this place. So what do you do? Is it fair to take something from this guy? Because he's up there doing the best he can, so would it be fair to take something from him?
No.
Okay, so it's not fair to do that. That's not equitable. It's not equity. Equity is we're gonna help her out, but we can't just help her out. Like we're gonna have to take something from this guy. It's like you're balancing in both ways. And so what Donald Trump is saying, the criticisms of DEI is saying, like, you can't just manufacture this. You can't just sit and be like the big puppet master and going to come up with these policies to make this work for everybody. It's not going to work for everybody. And stop trying to do that and stop having these sweeping policies that somehow you think is just going to rectify the situation, because maybe what you're doing is you're creating bad blood. Because you, bro, if you're up there and I come along and I'm like, hey, dude, sorry, but we're just got to take this something from you. How's that gonna be for you? How you gonna feel about that?
I wouldn't feel great. My family's from Ireland. We didn't participate in anything. We came here.
Oh, damn. Okay. Now you just complicated it even more. So now what? But we're gonna punish you anyway. So how is that?
Not very fair.
Okay, so can you imagine people seeing all these DE&I programs and thinking like, this doesn't seem fair. God, it doesn't seem fair, right? People like you and I, especially people that look like you and I, but your mom comes along and says, yeah, well, maybe that's not fair, but for my situation, it would be fair. Rectify this. And you're saying, but it's fair at some level, although there are Native American people, indigenous peoples who aren't here. They're actually starting way up there ahead of him. And then you're in this position of going like, yeah, but I'm this Nigerian dude, and sure. Yeah. So what's fair? What do you think about that? What's the fair thing?
I don't really know what the fair thing to do is, but I don't think the answer is just get rid of it completely. That's just my opinion.
Maybe you get rid of it and you start over.
I think it would lead to the same thing if you start over again, but
yeah.
I don't know. I think America was like, even though it was extreme, or to some people extreme, I think it was moving in the right direction before the removal of it.
You think so?
I feel so.
How about the story I gave about the black student who got his scholarship and he was rich? Came from a rich family. Is that the right direction?
I guess, but there's going to be cases like that, I feel like.
Okay,
yeah.
Well, but you're going to be able to have a lot of cases like that, right?
Yeah, maybe.
Probably most beneficiaries of affirmative action because most affirmative action programs were really built around gender more than race, probably, really, in terms of how they get implemented. So it's like women, white women, so they benefit, so that wouldn't be fair. Huh. Do you see the complexity of it, though? Right?
Yeah.
Do you all see the complexity of this? Like, do you feel pretty confused now? Like, I don't know, like, do you feel confused? You feel confused?
Yeah.
Are you confused? Dude, do you feel like I took a side, one side or the other?
No, I think you were fair.
Do you feel like do you feel like I took a side, bro? Do you feel like I'm like going back and forth to say like, this is crazy making. I'm glad I don't have to be part of this. Yeah. But this is what some of the arguments are. Because we're not having these kinds of conversations to show the complexity of this stuff. It's like, damn. Okay, we're going to pick this up next class. And by the way, G, is there any food left over? It is Chinese New Year, and G made some awesome food. If you have any left that you want to offer anyway? Dude, you can. Hey, can we have a round of applause for our team? Thanks, man. All right. You can put the... Oh, wait, we had questions on the... Jeff, we had questions on the stream. We're gonna pick them up. I'll do some during office hours. By the way, class, so you know, I do office hours on Wednesday afternoons from 3 to 4:30 on the live stream. But we'll if you're watching the streaming, you ask some questions. We'll pick them up on Thursday. All right, we'll start off with your questions. All right.